Hello, my name is Shannon and I'll be presenting our research paper on mass timber in the contemporary workplace. The main focus of the paper is a series of precedent reviews of both international and significant Pacific mid-rise mass timber office buildings. We utilise graphic analysis of the plan and overall structural/architectural resolution. The conclusions drawn from this analysis are then used to reflect on current design trends. Mass timber structures for medium to large-scale non-residential buildings are becoming increasingly popular, although we suggest a number of issues with the current design resolution of mass timber buildings is preventing wider adoption. Most commercial timber buildings imitate their steel and concrete predecessors, utilising post and beam frame techniques. These timber frames do not exploit the inherent structural and material properties of timber, and to the detriment of the interior, adhere to historical notions of open floor plate spatial planning. And the complicated jointing or mixed system design required to provide these open floor plates leave much to be desired in the terms of aesthetic and tectonic qualities. And finally, the urban expression has not been meaningfully developed beyond typical approaches to more traditional steel and concrete solutions, leading to expressions that speak little to the qualities of mass timber. These three areas, the structure and associated details, planning, and urban response, have not been fully realised in mass timber architectural design, and thus present opportunities for research and development. The case study international buildings analysed in this slide are taken from Meyerson and Ross's book, Practical Office Design. They are of a representative size and scale to be applicable to a mid-rise typology in a New Zealand urban environment. Although presented as radical solutions to the contemporary workplace, these buildings still operate within the historical framework of the office, where the interior resolution is resolutely tied to the large, regular, open grid of steel and concrete. The preference for private, individual workstations is still prevalent in the contemporary office. Desk clusters are interspersed throughout the plan, where partition walls provide a degree of auditory and visual privacy. There is no clear relationship to the structural design, as evident by the high proportion of undefined circulation space. On average, 57% of the lettable floor area is unused. Does an open plan, contemporary office necessitate this waste of space? Could it be more efficient without returning to rows of cubicles? And finally, the clear requirement for fully enclosed space begs the question, could the wall element used become a more permanent fixture and contribute directly to the architectural language of the office? There is a current disconnect between the structural and architectural, resulting in homogeneous and uninspired environments that almost exclusively rely on partition walls and furniture systems. As shown throughout the history of the office, shifts in interior solutions correlate to shifts in architectural technologies. The workplace is on the brink of another significant change, one that mass timber as a unique architectural language can enable. Post and beam construction solutions tend to be the accepted tectonic strategy for office buildings, as they allow for open, large floor plates with free planning. Importantly, they are commercially exploitable as a non-architecture that can be endlessly adapted internally to accommodate any tenant or even a change of use. 149 Featherston Street is a mixed system design, utilising a concrete core for lateral support and gravity-only LVL post and beam structure. The resulting design is a structuraless interior, with the structural solution allowing for slim 600 deep members to run directly from the core to the perimeter LVL columns. The concrete core of the building compensates for what timber alone cannot provide, stiffness and lateral support, resulting in a complicated structural design that suffers from material incompatibility. Is this an efficient or even architecturally appropriate use of mass timber? International House is a representative precedent of the popular trends in Australia in terms of commercial mass timber design. The structural design of the building lends itself towards a particular architectural form, an asymmetric core with a two-way CLT floor diaphragm, braced in the exterior with timber frames, and sitting on a concrete ground floor podium. Again, in an effort to achieve an open floor plate, 1,200 deep beams run in one direction from the core to the braced perimeter of the building. All connections are fully concealed, and there is no implicit material or tectonic language that could be defined as unique or typological of timber design. The post and beam structural strategy impersonates the tectonic language of traditional material systems, often leading to inefficient timber design that does not speak to the properties inherent to mass timber as a material. And the resulting open floor plate design creates a homogeneous environment that is not beneficial for the adoption of ABW concepts. Mid-rise mass timber residential buildings have seen a comparatively large uptake in the construction market. The simple, typically modular architectural strategies lend themselves to current panelised timber technologies. Wall-orientated structural solutions, we suggest, therefore demonstrate the primary tectonic language of mass timber. The Forte apartment structural design is tied inherently to the architecture of the building, where all the walls are structural, leading to a honeycomb or house of cards resolution. The Sound Innovation Centre features three-dimensionally folded walls that are the gravity, lateral, and architectural resolution of the building. This precedent utilises a novel engineering solution to create the image of the building and a unique interior planning solution. Wall solutions lead to simple and effective structural strategies, minimising jointing difficulty and material incompatibility. Does this comparatively simple structural design suggest the material properties of mass timber, and how could they be exploited in the design of commercial buildings? Wall solutions suggest a significantly smaller grid size and a more cellular approach to the architectural planning than is typically seen in steel and concrete office buildings. Instead of an over-reliance on partition walls, mass timber office architecture could instead seek to utilise the likely cellular nature of the structure to suggest occupation and use, to break up the monotony and homogeneous nature of the generic open-plan office. The deliberate and considered placing of wall elements in the plan could provide a series of unique and differing environments with their own inherent character to facilitate the diverse activities that take place in the office. Moving away from the superficial to the architectural, mass timber walls suggest a new interior that may alleviate issues currently facing the uptake of ABW concepts in the office. The current facades of mass timber buildings utilise solutions typical of their typology: a non-structural curtain glass wall for office developments, and punch windows with a metal cladding system for residential developments. This is the facade language typical of steel and concrete buildings, posing the question, is there a facade language that is more expressive of timber as a material? What this means has not been fully explored as of yet. There is certainly an opportunity for more expressive facades that speak clearly to the structural solution inside, to create a clear link between the interior and the urban context. Exploring this opportunity offers the potential for more playful and interesting responses to the necessities of natural light and weather protection, opportunities that also enhance the connection to the urban context. To conclude this presentation, I selected a series of images from my current mass timber thesis research into how this interaction between the workplace as a typology and the properties of mass timber can be developed. This demonstrates how the thinking presented in this paper could lead to an architectural outcome. Seeking structural solutions that not only speak to mass timber as a unique material, but also the planning and urban contributions the use of this material could have on the overall architecture is critical to encouraging the wider adoption of mass timber in the commercial environment. Moving away from mimicking traditional modes of construction and towards the expressive use of timber will challenge the way we conceive the planning, urban connection, and facade expression of our buildings. And in moving beyond the aesthetic use of timber in the workplace, structural mass timber suggests an architecture with a smaller grid spacing, a higher degree of structural interference, and a more modular approach. This complex interaction between the structural design of mass timber and the various architectural implications has not been yet fully developed. And to be successful in the future of our urban environments, mass timber commercial architecture needs to define itself in the marketplace as a viable solution, one that is not only structurally rational, but also architecturally meaningful. Thank you for watching this presentation, and I look forward to your responses.